All right, so good evening. Today is the 19th of February. I think I'm not actually certain what date we're on, but the 19th of February. Tuesday, 19th of February, this is our wellness webinar. And I'm Carolyn Hoffman from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I'm excited and looking forward to interviewing our special guest speaker, Sylvie Wilmot from the West Coast out in California. And I've come to know Sylvie over the last 18 months, and she's certainly been part of Asea longer than I have, and has a longer history with Asea. So I'm excited to help you share with everybody your journey and why you're in Asea and what you're doing, because I'm sure many of them don't know you quite as well as we come to know you. So thank you so much for giving us your time this evening, Sylvie.
You're more than welcome. My pleasure.
So why don't we start first off by telling everyone a little bit about who you are, what your background is. We often have conversations on these calls or in other situations where people say, well, you know, you're natural health, you're a naturopath or whatever, so talking about all this stuff is really much more comfortable for you than someone who's not in your field. But I know that you don't come from that field at all, but obviously you feel very comfortable sharing this Asea message. So go ahead and explain your background and how you came to be part of Asea.
Well, my background, you know, I guess I've been over my life. I'm 57 years old. I've been carrying many different hats. And I grew up in France, in the east part of France is where I was born. And I helped my parents in the business. They had clothing, they had a restaurant. So always doing something. And study was not really my forte. And I quit school pretty much 2 years before graduating and start right away to be in the workforce, managing store and traveling. But my big dream was to come to United States since I was 8 years old, and I saw to the theater Bambi and the wonderful world of Disney. And I said, one day I will go to America. And it took me quite a long time to decide to make this journey because I was 24 years old, 25 years old when I came to America. And not to be a tourist, pretty much in France, when I was looking for another job, they told me at 24, I had too much experience for my age. So I figured out, hey, I go to America, I learn English, come back, bingo. But I never went back. And so I did a lot of jobs. I went from selling fish to shoes to clothes to, I mean, all type of job. And I got married with my husband, 2 children, and we decided that it was make more sense for me to stay home with the children and doing his bookkeeping. So now I become a bookkeeper. And my journey to wellness, I think my journey to wellness is because of my parents. I mean, I know for sad circumstances, sometimes something really good come out. And when my mother was diagnosed of cancer, and I start to, you know, sometimes you have a gut feeling about certain things that need to be done. However, the medical field for people who are not from this field can shut you off very quickly and tell you, just be quiet, you don't know anything. And so when I came back to the US, I decided to educate myself, at least to be able to argue and defend my point of view with the medical field. And as I was educating myself, all those thoughts I had in regard of my mother care was confirming to be right, except I could not express them properly. And so from that became my journey into wellness. And for 20 years, I decided that I needed to keep control of my health and my body, and the best way it was to educate myself. So I become passionate about holistic approach and non-invasive approach, and this journey brought me to another network company and to Asea. Pretty much.
You know, that's kind of interesting. I'm sure you've probably seen, if you've been attached to other network marketing companies, especially if they're in the healthcare industry, that my experience is that these companies are very often at the leading edge of new technologies and new products that eventually become mainstream, but it often takes about 20 years. But I'm sure you probably found the same thing, that sometimes we have these amazing technologies or products and we share them with people, but the vehicle, that message coming through a network marketing route, sometimes shuts certain people's minds off and they miss how important these life-changing technologies are, not just Asea's, but other things. Can you talk a little bit about Verdis Norton's connection to why he ended up having a company that's a network marketing company, given his background?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's quite interesting. And I think it's maybe also one of the reasons this company is so different than other company is this approach of Verdis. He comes from a traditional background, cannot be more traditional than that, because we are talking about corporate America and big corporation, because Kraft Food and General Food are, I will say, like a big name here in America, but all over the world. We all eat one of their products. And for him to have this vision, and he was retired actually. I mean, so he was off completely of the circuit. But I think, you know, what makes such a difference in our company is he decided, I spoke with his daughter actually, say, Asea changed my father. My father was a tough man. I mean, he was very strict, very square. I mean, he ran those big companies, he was running his family pretty much the same way. But Asea brought him a soft heart. Suddenly, it was not corporate America. It was having a human approach. It was looking to bring a legacy. In 20 years from now, Verdis Norton and what he did for Kraft Food and General Food will be forgotten. However, Asea will never be forgotten. It's going to go from generation after us. I don't know how long I will live, but I believe it's going to be the same idea that what naturopathy was 20 years ago. Nobody will talk. When I came in America, people didn't know what homeopathy was. You know, people were making fun of me, of my sugar pill. So I do believe that Verdis opened completely a new box, a new vision. And because of his background of corporate world, and how will I say that? He gave a new dimension to what network marketing is. It's a different philosophy. We're not here, we're not selling car. We're not arguing to push people to consume a product. We are educator. We are messenger of a vision.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, that he will bring a different dynamic to network marketing. And if it wasn't for him turning down that legacy check and taking this, you know, the traditional route of pharmaceutical drugs, who knows where we would all be with our health, because yeah, that is a totally different left turn. And to ignore that life-changing money and make this a legacy for humanity, as you said, is just huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
it's a different, I mean, to be honest with you, I will not be able, I know men's going to laugh, but I will not be able to do my brushing. Not that I look like I have a brushing, but raising my arm and putting it down was excruciating. My life will be different. I may have a surgery right now for my shoulder. I don't know. So, you know, the possibility, it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. And we always say, may you never know what you prevent. It certainly is an important thing for all of us who believe in prevention, and who knows what's coming along the pike that we don't ever get to see as a result of taking care of ourselves. Talk about, you know, these molecules, and we're obviously dealing with redox signaling molecules, were a whole new field in themselves. And thanks to Gary Samuelson's work, you know, we are the beneficiaries of this in our life. But for those people who are investigating this for the first time, could you go ahead and explain what are those molecules and what do they do, and why do we need them?
Well, you know, I like when I do a conference, I say, because I'm not a scientist, I'm a mom at home. I like to call that Redox for dummy, you know, because let's not try to complicate our life to try to understand all the science. And actually, what I ask often to people who ask me a bunch of questions, I ask them if they really read what it's on the back of the toothpaste. And they all laugh. I said, no, why should I? I said, well, you should, because if you read on very thin print, it say, do not swallow, do not give that to children under a certain age, which there is plenty of chemical. So to come back to your question, how do you explain those molecules? Pretty much those molecules are in my body, in your body. I love to be in the supermarket because everybody is a potential person who's going to need those molecules. Not only people, but the plants, animals, any living thing do have, if you have cells, you are producing those molecules. And it took me a long time to wrap myself around something extremely simple, but extremely complex. How come water and salt, after a reaction, electrolyte reaction, can become something else and become those incredible molecules that actually our body produce. And what now I often try to relate to is like the in vitro baby, okay? In vitro baby, people can understand that now. You have a sperm, you have eggs, you put them into a glass. And for whatever reason, you're able to recreate a fetus, a cell who's going to divide to create a human being. How incredible is that? I'm sure when they were doing research, it's not, we didn't take it and shake it. It came to a process, an electrolyzed process, something to create this reaction, who fused this egg and this sperm to create a child. And now we don't even question it. There is, I think in 2016, over almost 80,000 babies were born this way. And often I'm thinking, what we have is the same thing. We have this water, this salt, put together, creating this molecule that it's already in our body, which is vital. If I stop producing that, I'm going to fall down because my cells do not communicate. And this communication is as important as my phone in order to connect with my daughter or to the fire department, or if I have a stroke, to call the emergency. If I stop to have the connection, the signal, I cannot send the message, and our cell won't be able to communicate. And unfortunately, it's the bad stuff who keep on communicating. So those cells, those molecules are so simple and so important, actually vital, fundamental to our cellular communication in order to detect, repair, and replace damaged cells. It's pretty much exactly what happened in my shoulder. I remember the morning when I wake up and I was able to move my arm, and I was like amazed. My husband looking at me saying, "What the heck are you doing?" I said, "I can move my shoulder." And I called Dr. Silverman and I say, "Do you really think this product can do something in my shoulder?" And he said, "What does that product do?" I said, "Detect, repair, replace damaged cells." "What are your ligaments?" "They are tissue." "Yes." "And what tissue are made?" "Cells." And suddenly it was like, okay, I got it. My body was able to detect what was damaged. Fortunately, I was healthy enough that that was a priority after 5 months taking the product. And my body did its work, did what it's intended to do, repair those ligaments, which usually when you are in your 50s, ligaments do not repair. So, you know, I try to make it simple. It's pretty much help to communicate like we are communicating right now. If my connection dropped, we're not communicating and exchanging information. Does that make sense? I don't know.
It makes perfect sense. Now, actually, it's really interesting to hear your analogy of the egg and the sperm, because in 18 months, I've never heard anybody put that forth. And yet that makes so much sense, because people do seem to struggle, as I did too in the beginning, trying to make head nor tail of this science, which in a way is so sophisticated and yet in a way is just so rudimentary and so simple. that I think sometimes it slips past people's attention that it is so fundamental. So as you were talking about, basically it's the thing that's going to keep us healthy and keep everything repairing at all points in time. I too have the same shoulder history and same shoulder outcome, which is really interesting. And I know I'm not the only person. I've met other people who say the same thing, that many months later, that shoulder that was injured some time back is suddenly repaired. It's made its own changes. We often talk about 6 different categories of why people look at this. Maybe you could kind of explore that a little bit for people.
Yeah, indeed. Generally, people are looking for this technology because they have somebody they love who actually have a health issue. I mean, for them first. You always look, like we say, in the plane, put the oxygen first on your nose. So you're looking because you have a health issue, a challenge. You're looking for a solution, or you know somebody you love. Who indeed, like my parents, will be the perfect people. But we all know somebody who suffers in silence, who looking for something. The third reason is anti-age. I must say, you know, vanity put aside, I love it. And as most of women, we reach a certain age, we try pretty much anything in the market to say anti-age and proven result. The fourth reason for athletic performance, there is également also for prevention. And this, I think, will be my big thing. I was healthy. However, I had ache and pain, you know, I broke my back, broke my ankle, my shoulder, and I was just going through the cycle of becoming my mother, if some people can relate. And I accepted, but I didn't really like it. And the other reason can be financial. I mean, or because you want to pay for your product, or because you looking for an opportunity who can allow you to have enough freedom and also the possibility to, it's a job. I mean, to be your own boss with a minimum of investment. On my end, it was mostly preventive. Now, the business part came little later after. You have to understand, in America, I guess everywhere, when you reach a certain age and you look for a job, they pay you $12, $13 an hour. Like on my case, I have no diploma. I've been working all my life. I'm unemployable because I'm too qualified for what people will hire me. They will hire a 20 years old to do what I do. And I'm never going to be paid what I deserve to be paid. And so network marketing, this type of business, allow me to be my own boss with a minimum of investment. I didn't want to be in the store because I like my freedom. So there is not too many options in the world to be able to make a living, having fun doing it, because I have a lot of fun doing it. I travel all the time, and it gives me the liberty to actually, we just bought a house without having to sell the other house. Trust me, 4 years ago, you would have told me that, I would say, you must be dreaming. But the sixth reason is really everybody, there is a reason for everybody to look at this product. And when I look at it, it was definitely not for the business. I was looking for me, what can help me to age better, more gracefully, with more energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Were you, I know that you said you'd been involved in another network marketing company. Was this something you were looking for again? I know you said you had the mobilization for personal health and family and things like that, but you know, did you kind of think in the back of your mind, well, maybe I'll do this as a business?
No, actually, when I was, when Barbara Albert called me, who was on this other network marketing, called me, I almost hung up on the phone because I promised myself, as much I learned a lot of things on the other company, the product was fabulous, but I was not successful. It cost me money. I loved the product, but to me, network marketing was good for certain people, but not for others. And so when she contacted me, the only reason I did research on the product, it was to kind of prove her she was wrong. Because if I can tell her she's wrong and what she's having, it's really not what she thinks it is, she will stop calling me. And as I did my research, I discovered about Redox, it's a real science. I mean, there is a multitude of study. I was turning the thing in every way you know, like I start looking the negative stuff, like, you know, it's a network marketing, it's a scam. So it's a scam, not guilty. It's an expensive salt and water. Oh yeah, but the guy doesn't like chiropractor, acupuncture, homeopathy, so no value to me. And to be honest, three negative things which are not validated in the whole web page world, it's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean. So that was not a reason for me to stop my research. And after that, I wanted to know if Redox was a real scientific word. And there I get like immersed into so many studies that I could not understand, but was telling me that it was real. And the next step was for me, is it dangerous? Can have a side effect on my body? Because I don't mind to try something, but I don't want to create another problem like most drugs will do to you. You take a medication, help the problem, but create another one. And that was my concern. Why should I get into something to create something I didn't have before? And when I find out that it's native from the body, there is no toxicity, no drug interaction, it's absolutely safe. I cannot be allergic to it. It's pretty much like drinking my own tear or drinking my own saliva. It's in my body, it's native from me. There I say, okay, I have nothing to lose. And that journey did start it like that. But yeah, network marketing, oh no. And you know what? You cannot say never, never, because you have to find the right home. I think you have to find the company who speak to your heart and your soul, and you're not feeling like you're selling something. I think it's the big thing. When you know you really have a purpose and making a difference in people's life, everything is possible.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a wonderful explanation. You talked about the salt water, and you're right. People can definitely go online and they'll see, well, it's a scam, it's just salt and water. How do people know that they're not picking up salt and water, since on the ingredients in the bottle, it just says sodium chloride and water?
You're absolutely right. And this, I thought it was very impressive. Let me get the bottle, because I have a European bottle and they don't have it. On the back of the bottle, they have bioagiletics. And bioagiletics, it's actually a lab who certify 8 out of the 10 biggest pharmaceutical companies that actually the drug they are selling you contain those active ingredients. So Asea didn't have to do that because we're not classified as a drug, we are supplementation. And there is no, the rule and regulation are very large. So no obligation to have this certification, and certainly no obligation to spend this type of money to have this lab coming every month to check the product, to verify and certify that actually this saline solution is not anymore a saline solution, but it's a solution who's supporting trillion of reductant and oxidant who are in a non-active, stable form, and they will be activated or merged together, should I say, at the contact of your skin, organic contact. And so to have this certification on the back is extremely important. And also what I would like to say, what I love for this company is you don't have to stock product. And the company will guarantee that those products are indeed what they sell or have those molecules, considering you order directly from a certified, or I will say authorized associate, Asea associate. There is, you know, now with the internet, you can find everything and everything. However, for anybody who's looking to a shortcut or get the product maybe $5 cheaper, you won't be guaranteed that what you receive is indeed those molecules in it, because it's so easy to falsificate this product. So the only way to make sure you're receiving the right product is when it's shipped directly from the Asea warehouse headquarters to your home, directly to your door. And that is the only way Asea will guarantee that what you get is actually those incredible molecules.
And they also give a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is a great thing to realize, that we do have some scam product out on the market, some fake product, expired product, and we've definitely had experiences with people who've known people to purchase from Amazon and actually got fake product that did not work, and come into contact with an Asea associate and compared those products directly, especially with the gel. Maybe we should talk a little bit about why the gel is so significant for people.
The gel cannot go without it. Actually, I came back from Barcelona and I walk all the day long. And let me tell you, when I get to my hotel room, I could have bathed my feet in the gel. I think I will do it. The gel, it's commercialized, it's marketed as an anti-aging. However, it goes further than that. I call that my first aid. I put that in my purse. You can go from head to toe, and I'm not going to give some detail, but pretty much you can use for burns, for skin irritation. You can even put it on your gum if you have an irritation. I mean, there is 4 ingredients. How many products do you know in the market with 4 ingredients? I don't believe even the best and purest product have more than 4 ingredients. Mm-hmm. And so that for anti-aging, I just love it. But the best thing is when you use it 3 times in 5 minutes. I think for a lot of people, it's often difficult with the liquid to have a real understanding of what this molecule can do for your body. But with the gel, it's very quick, very easy to have an experience. And the simple thing you have to do, and if some people are guests and you have a tube next to you, just find an area in your body who's achy, okay, head, tummy, shoulder, and check the tube, apply on your shoulder 3 times in 5 minutes and reevaluate it. Sometime before even the 3rd time you will have results. But usually I will say 9 people out of 10 will have a result within the 10 first minutes. And that is impressive for a product who's made of water and salt. So, you know, difficult to say, doesn't work. I mean,
yeah, it is pretty amazing. It was definitely the first product that I tried out with my clients to get my own validation about what these molecules could do. And so as they would come into my office, I would say to them toward the end of the appointment, because I knew certain people had things that hurt, can you do me a favor, try this out, use it 3 times in 5 minutes and give me feedback. And it was a 100% of people who had challenges that day as I continued to use it through the day. Every single one of them saw virtually total change in where they were at. So it was really significant. Where do people go? Now, you talked about the fact that people can look on the internet and see a lot of nonsense and misleading information as well from sources that look credible. I think I know the sites that you were researching. I did the same ones. But Asea is very committed to research. Could you share a little bit about what is significant about some of the more recent research that they've done?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this was a threshold. This really validated, it was concrete validation that nobody can discuss or dispute. Indeed, the Tourette Laboratory, who do research on genetic expression, did a study on our molecule. They took a group of people aged about 35 years old, which is a great group age because the body starts changing, but they're usually pretty healthy. And this group was healthy, men and women, different ethnicity. And they gave people to take 8 ounces of the liquid form. And within 8 weeks, what they find out is there was a significant change on the genetic expression. And what they did, they select 5 of the most common area of condition. I mean, if I give you the 5 names right away to everybody, you're going to think of somebody who have one of those issues. It is immune system, inflammatory, digestive, cardiovascular, and hormonal. We all know one person who has an issue in one of those 5 areas. And what I thought was, and I'm not a genetician, and you know, I like to keep it simple. One of those genes is where the science, we didn't even go to the bottom of everything. And when you open one door, there is 15 other door opening and it will address one of the genes, open like 12 or 15 other doors, who will relate it to serotonin, increasing serotonin. Serotonin is fabulous, helps the good mood, is why now I understand people, when they take this product, feel like they center, they feel like they can handle a lot of things. Even people who were under certain care for some emotional issue suddenly feel like it's much better. But the explanation is serotonin, helping with the signaling of the thyroid, signaling of the insulin, and NRF2, which some company tell you they can sell you supplement to increase your NRF2, which is for neurology, neuro damage, degeneration. We don't give the supplement. We help the body produce it the way it was intended to produce it. So we're just helping the body now to function properly. We bring all the signal into the body and turning the light. It's pretty much, I feel like we're increasing the intensity of the light, and the body can see clear, and the body can understand what it's supposed to do, and your body is going to do magical things because now we understand. So this study to me was a turning point for the company, because we can tell people, and actually I love it on the bottle, we can tell that by taking Asea Redox 8 ounces per day, you will be able to increase signaling on those 5 areas. And that is extremely important, because we are touching many, many conditions, and we can help so many people.
Absolutely. Speak a little bit, because the studies, they always seem to do them on 8 ounces, but we know that people take differing quantities of the supplement, especially when they start out. How do you help people get started? What kind of suggestions do you make to people?
Well, I like to ask them questions, first of all, if they have an history. Depending the age, depending I'm not there to diagnose, okay? We want to be clear. We're not here for a cure or diagnose, and I'm far away to be a doctor. You know, I have no, I just use my good sense. And usually I ask people, what is the concern? And from that, and depending how long they've been having this problem, if they have a problem, and depending how much medication they are taking, I usually tell them to start with 4 ounces, 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces at night, and really evaluate before starting where they are at, how they sleep, the energy, if they have a problem of circulation, to check out, you know, different little things will bother them. And to take the 4 ounce, and after 7 days or sometimes shorter, to take, if there is no change, to reevaluate, and if there is no change, to increase with an extra 2 ounces, so 6 ounces. And pretty much I want them to get to the point where they're going to pass this threshold. However, some people, because they've been having a lot of issue or a bad lifestyle, I should say, they may detox a lot. And I've been experiencing that in Europe, and perhaps because they have a much more diversified food, source of food, and they have often some digestive issue. So, you know, I tell people you cannot go wrong. There is no right or wrong way to go. You have to be able to adjust with your body. But 4 ounces is what I suggest always to start with. And for people who need more because of serious health issue, what I usually suggest them, rather than taking 8 ounce, 4 ounce, and 4 ounce, I ask them to spread it out during the day, just in order to, what I call is to keep the light on in the body. So we don't go up and down, which get the body tired. So to be consistent, and very important, drink a lot of water. You want to flush this body. You want to remove the free radical out of the body. You want to remove those dead cells out of the body. And the only thing you can do that if you drink water. And when I say water, it's water. Right now I'm drinking tea. Tea doesn't flush my system. But I'm talking, you know, good quality water, which at room temperature, don't get ice water because your stomach needs to reheat everything. So room temperature is the best. And 8 ounce, I must say, a lot of people have been saying 8 ounce, it's a magic number.
It's certainly called the Magic 8, and it was something I was a little skeptical about when I first listened, and I heard people talking about that. But eventually, that was the Magic 8 for my husband with his long-term breathing condition that turned around after 26 years in 2 weeks of using the 8 ounces. And for me also, for an issue that I'd had from a major car accident, that was the shift. And so it became very obvious when I listened to enough of the stories that there was something to the 8 ounces. And as you talk about, that's really just replenishing that empty glass as quickly as we can, and getting more lights on so that there's more work going on. Absolutely right.
Actually, if I
Yeah,
may say one more thing, what I suggest also people, I think there is two schools. There is people who want to go slow, they don't want, and there is people who just know they're going to have to hit the wall. I mean, it's going to be painful before it feels better. And so there is two way of approach it. And when some people tell me they had a reaction taking it because you get pimple or a rash, it's the body detoxing. So the product has no toxicity, but you have a lot of toxin in your body. So those are the ones who come out.
and perhaps we should also just couch that in perspective for people that probably only 10% of people see any detox, even though it's a potential. But it's not just about Asea. You know, people can get detox from taking high doses of vitamin C. I mean, anything that helps clean our system out is going to sometimes rush things a little too quickly. So you're right, the drinking is really important to flush those things out. So let's think a little bit about options. You know, if people are listening to this and they're thinking about how would they drink this, you know, what would be a guideline for them, talk about the options that people have for embracing Asea.
Well, what I would suggest is to start, of course, in 4 ounces, because you want to evaluate. As you get older, now I drink about 6 to 8 ounces a day. Because, you know, sometimes your body is moving. My body is still getting older. I'm not getting younger. I'm functioning better, but I'm still aging. So for people who are in perfect health, it's a maintenance, 4 ounces. And you want always to have enough in hand that, you know, if your husband gets sick or the kids get sick, you have little extra to push your body, to push your immune system higher in order to fight it. And you can use that for the children. So, you know, start in 4 ounce and adjust as life goes on and whatever come across your path, and hopefully nothing serious.
So when we talk about 4 ounces, we talk about 4 bottles is one for 1 month's use.
Yeah.
So there are different ways that people can choose to get this from the company. They could just be preferred customers or associates. You know, what are those differences that they might want to consider with whoever's invited them to the call?
Yeah, there is 3 options. Personally, I mean, I'm very clear with people. If you decide to use the product, engage yourself to do it properly. It's a disservice to you and to the product if you just do it sometime. So when you're ready to do it, I suggest to people to engage themselves for 3 months, at least, considering they're healthy. If they have a health issue, they have to understand they didn't get where they're at in 3 months. It took years before. As a woman, when I started, I decided 6 months because I believe the cycle of a woman is 2 months. So 3 cycles, 6 months. That is my way of thinking. Now, for anybody who starts retail price, who want to pay full price, unless you want to buy only 1 tube to evaluate, buy it retail. Otherwise, get preferred customer, which it's a great way to get the product at a wholesale price, but also benefit of the loyalty brand. And let me tell you, those loyalty brands go a long way, because all my nutritional, the VIA, which we didn't talk, actually, I get that with my loyalty brand. So, you know, you have this advantage. However, as a preferred customer, you must be in auto ship in order to get advantage of that price. But like I say, if you plan to stay in the product for 3 to 6 months, be on auto ship. What I love about these companies, you can adjust, increase, decrease. You have a lot of flexibility. You have your own account and you can manage your account for the product you need or don't need. The other option is the one I took to be an associate. I had no interest to do the business. However, it was giving me much more perk for my dollar. You know, who knows? You know, I didn't want to do the business, but I didn't say no to the business. So, of course, after 6 months using the product and I realized what it did on me, I started telling few people. And the first movement, my first motivation was to pay for the product because my husband said, hey, listen, I'm not paying for your pool water. And so, and I wanted my pool water, okay, to be clear. And just for some people don't understand when I say pool water, for some people, when they start drinking Asea, you may have a cessation to drink the pool water. So this is my way to evaluate if my body needed it or not. But pretty much it was to pay for the product. So not only as an associate, it gives you more option at the beginning when you order your product, also give you some reward, but allow you, if you decide later on to share this incredible technology with friends, family, or just people, like you're talking about going to a restaurant or talking to a hairdresser or going to see Dr. Hoffman, you know, you get a return by just sharing it. So I think associate, to me, it's the right way to go. If you're a person who loves, no matter what, if you find something of value, you like to share it, no matter if it's an income attached to it or not, it's the way you are, you may as well be an associate.
Yeah, definitely it's the most cost-effective way, and I think probably 99% of people that I've shared it with have chosen that, even if they've not had any interest in sharing this as a business whatsoever, and certainly makes the most financial sense. But whoever's on the call with you can show you those options. Let's kind of wrap this up a little bit about the other aspect, I think, that pulls so much of us, and so many of us rather, into Asea and keeps us there beyond all of the goosebumps that we get for all of the amazing changes in people's health and phenomenal outcomes that can be just life-changing. So those are worth everything. And we have somebody in our group who will say that the only side effect of drinking the pool water that only tastes like pool water when you're out of balance and doesn't taste like that afterwards is that you can get a check. So that's the only side effect. But the culture and the people and the mission, let's kind of talk at this last few minutes just about the mission and who we are as a company and what's inspired you and the fun that you've had traveling around, and how your opportunity to do what you're doing here is just expanding way beyond the States.
Yeah, I mean, the philosophy of this company, I think it's also what it's very attractive. And we're not in the traditional who love you type of company. You know, everybody is beautiful. We love everybody. There is a very sense of honesty and ethic. And when you go to the conference, it's not like big music and people showing off, look what I get. And there is a lot of respect and humble, certain way, very humble way of the management, Verdes Norton. I mean, you have people in the company like Trish Shrinkler and Denny Robinson and Tammy Gate who make incredible amount of money. But those people are, if you didn't know, if you were not with us and know the status, you have no clue. They are the most simple people that you can find. And I was in Barcelona and I saw Chuck Frankel, he's the CEO of the company. And he saw me working, he said, what the heck are you doing here? I didn't see you in Envision and now I see you in Barcelona. And he called me by my name. I mean, when you see people, I mean, the head of the company, they remember who you are. it's not fake, it's real. Because most of company, they will wave and say, who the heck is she? No, it's very real. It's very human. And I think we're not doing a business to business, but we're doing human to human. And it's a very different way of looking to the business. And I think it's what I tell often to people. And I'm sorry if there is anybody who's selling car in this group, but we're not there to try to tell you, buy my car because it's the best. No, look at it, look around, we're the only one. And the only thing we want to do is share with you something of value who can impact your life. And if you're interested, let us know. There is no pressure, there is no pushing. Because you know what? This earth is full of people with cells. And if it's not you, it will be somebody else. It's just a question of time that we can talk to enough people who have cells that, and even if we don't talk to them, there is the animals who will be more than happy to have this molecule. So, I mean, there is the ethos of the company that people come first before ego and economic. And this is a big one because most people are so selfish. This company, maybe in long term, in 20 years it will change, but right now, really people come first. And I think it's remarkable. And I think we're following the legacy of Verdis Norton because people were coming first. The check was not that important. He didn't do that for the money. He did that because he saw that this technology could have a future for humanity, and it was a gift for humanity. And that, I think, until our generation in Asea can be there, this is the flag we want to carry, is the legacy of Verdis Norton, to be good for humankind and bring, you know, in this pretty crazy word, to bring this kind of sense of integrity, honesty, and really giving some good to humanity.
That is so beautiful. And if anybody does not know the full story, we would recommend that they go and look at the Asea Genesis video. So aseagenesis.com. And if you are still searching for some more information, I was thinking that your comment about taking the Asea on a regular basis to maintain the balance of it in the body is something that Dr. Ward definitely recommends. And he's not part of Asea, but you can go to his website, which is www.redox, and that's with an X, D-O-X, redox.com. And he has a lot of information for people who are really intrigued by the science piece. But Sylvia, I really want to thank you for your time. And I am sure that everyone has got a lot of great information from tonight, and you've had some fabulous analogies. And it's so refreshing to hear some different ways of looking at what we do and sharing and communicating that message. And you know, your heart really shows through. So I want to thank you very much for your time, and want to say thank you to everybody on the call. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
You are welcome. Good night, everyone.
Good night.